You show me where your permit is on that door.
I have my permit. I also have permission from the property manager.
No, there's no permit on that door.
Okay, that's fine. The HOA
You can't
has
work
it.
without a permit. And
Yeah, I have a permit.
Don't you raise your voice to me.
Ma'am, I have a permit. Give me my keys back.
I'm not giving you your keys till somebody comes here.
So this lady just stole my keys to my apartment, and the cops are on their way. She stole my property. She entered my property. She's harassing my guys. So I am going to prosecute you to the full extent of the law, ma'am. What was your name?
It's my favorite part.
I'm on the phone.
What's your name?
I'm on the phone.
If you can tell me you're on the phone, what's your name?
My name is Phone.
And she misspells it
What's
twice.
Right, these ladies are leaving, taking off. Stop. The cops are on their way. The cops are on their way for you. You know what you're doing. You're taking off. Okay.
I'm Jordan Lulich. This is the Lulich Corner, and today I am going to sit down with Donovan Camarotti from Camarotti Homes, and we are going to talk about what we just watched. I mean, that was something else. Donovan, welcome back to the podcast.
Thank you for having me, man. I appreciate it.
Super excited to dive in. So, what do you do, and why were you shooting that video?
So, if you couldn't tell by the beginning of that video, this lady had my keys. And specifically my keys to my apartment, condo, I guess you could call it. The short story of it is I was doing some work in this condo, renovating it. And this lady was mad, probably because the guys were making noise, which is inevitable in a renovation. Yeah. That being said, she didn't see the permit posted in the window, which we did have the permit and it was on file with the HOA. But she didn't see it. So she got pissed and she wants to put a stop to this work. And she goes...
And she's just a neighbor, right?
She's just a neighbor.
She just lives there.
Has nothing to do with the HOA. She's
gotta love HOAs.
Yeah, not a member. And this is a 5+ community, too. Yeah. So, I think she had nothing better to do.
Right. Yeah, that's typically how it works.
Than to do that and to be nosy. So anyway, she tries to go into my unit. And since the guys were working in there, there were... keys. There was a lockbox and there were keys in it in the door. So she lets herself into the apartment.
So she actually opens the lockbox.
Yeah, well, the lockbox was open.
Okay, so she sees the keys there and she just grabs the keys and she lets herself in.
Yep, grabs the keys, lets herself in.
Nobody invites her in.
Yep, tries to kick out all my guys.
Wow, how bold, man.
I know,
How
right?
bold. So just right there, that's trespass. Boom.
Yep.
She's not invited in. She doesn't have any permission to go in. So she's literally entering your apartment where she's not invited in. And so boom, like you said on the video, like, I'm going to prosecute you. Like, you had grounds to prosecute for doing that.
And not only did she go into my unit and kick out all the guys, she took my keys, locked the door, and kept the keys.
So she kicks out, like, she says, you need to get out?
Yeah. Said she was from the HOA.
What?
Yeah, said she was a vice president.
What did your guys do? Like, what did they say?
They kind of just left. It wasn't like the main guys. They were just kind of like the helpers to the contractor there. It wasn't, the contractor himself wasn't there. So I think if he was there, it would have been a little different. He could have told her to, like, go away. But they were just kind of like, scared. They just,
they didn't want conflict. They didn't want confrontation. So she takes over, like, the management of, like, did she work for Camarotti Homes?
Absolutely not.
She's got your key. She kicks out your guys. And then she does what?
And then I get a call from my contractor explaining what just happened. And this is condo's like an hour and 20 minutes from where I live. So I hop in the car. I start going down there. I was like, no way, this just happened.
Man. So when you get there, that's an hour and a half after when your guys were kicked out of the unit.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Wow.
Exactly. Basically, the guys told me, well, my unit's 304, right? Yeah. They told me the lady in 302 has the keys. So I go knocking on door 302.
You must have been furious.
Oh, I was so mad. And I started off, I was like, hey, were you the one complaining about some construction, going on in 304? She's like, yeah, you guys got to have a permit and all this. I was like, okay, well, you know that you have my keys and you're not supposed to take someone's keys, so give me my keys back. And she's like, adamant that she doesn't have the keys. And, after maybe...
Were you buying that? Like, you must have not believed her, right?
I wasn't. And I was.
You must have thought she was BSing you. She was lying.
Yeah.
She had your keys.
And so then I called the contractor. I was like, yo, you said 302, right? And he's like, well, yeah, but it also might not have been 302. I was like, oh, great. Now I just...
you should have told me like 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, and I just ripped this lady apart and she didn't have my keys. Now what had happened is the other lady who actually did have my keys went into 302 because the lady in 302 was her friend, but the lady who actually lived there did not have the keys.
So they were colluding
So
together.
they were colluding.
She wasn't
But
innocent.
She was telling the truth in that she didn't have the keys, but she also didn't tell me.
She was
who had the keys.
conspiring with her. Yeah.
Yeah. So that being said, she goes, I go out, I'm on the phone, and this other lady comes back, the lady in the video. And, you know, she starts being all nasty. And I was like, and then that's when I started recording. And then that's when you see, you know, it turned into something, you know, bigger where, you know, I'm like, hey, give me my keys. She's saying, you know, all this crazy stuff.
And then she gets out her phone, right? Like, so
Yeah.
she's on the, who's she calling?
She's calling the HOA president.
Okay.
Yeah.
And does he, well, she leaves in that video.
She leaves because she's like, you know, I had called the cops at that point. There was like a cut in the video. I had called the cops. The cops were on their way. Yeah. And that's when she leaves. Yep, because obviously she knows what she did.
Yeah.
So the cops, I had a license plate.
As she's leaving, it almost looks like she hit you. Like,
It came close. It
yeah.
came close.
I mean, you're like,
Yeah.
the camera shakes and you're like all over the place. Like, we
Yeah.
don't really see what happens, but like, I mean, it's because they back the car up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they kind of like try to go a little bit more left to miss you.
Yeah, so they back the car up. I get in front. I was like, hey.
Yeah.
Whether I should have done that or not, I don't know.
I mean, what else do you,
Yeah.
what would you do if somebody had your keys and was about to haul ass out of, like, literally, like,
Right,
they were getting out of there?
And I didn't want to let them get away with that, right? So then I hop in front of the car, and then she tries to reverse it, and then I try to get behind it, and then she just floors it out of there. And then obviously, like, I'm on foot. You know, I'm never going to keep up to the car. So they get out. Then cops get there. I had the license plate, obviously. Then they called them back, and they showed back up once the cops called them.
Nice. Are you just like raging at that point, or have you kind of like simmered down?
I
or-
had simmered down a little bit because like they were gone, and I was just talking to the officer, and I was just like, you know, telling the officer what happened essentially. And then they got back, and the officer said, "Hey, just like wait over there. I'll deal with them," which is, you know, probably the best.
Separates you, yeah.
Exactly. So I was just like sitting there. I was like, "Hey, you know, like this is ridiculous. Like I'm not in the wrong here, right?" And the cop was like completely on my side, and the cop was just saying, like, "You guys can absolutely not do this. Like this is unacceptable. Like you." Whether he has a permit or not is, number one, not your job. Number
Right.
two, even if it was, you can't go into his apartment and take his keys. And then at that point, the HOA president had arrived to the property, and he was saying the same.
Because did you not pull the permit? I mean,
Well, we did pull a permit.
You did pull the
But
permit.
it just wasn't
Yeah.
posted in the window. The HOA had it on file because we sent it to them, but it wasn't.
So
in
the
window.
HOA had the permit. You had pulled the permit. Okay, maybe you didn't follow the exact step of like posting in the window,
Which, okay.
you should have,
Yeah,
right? You
I
should
should've.
have. But then she's like, so where is she getting her info? She just didn't know
She
what
just
was
didn't see
going
it
on.
she just didn't see it in the window, and she assumed I didn't have a permit. And then in the video,
Oh
you
my
can see me
gosh.
say the HOA has the permit.
Right. She didn't really listen to you at that point.
She
No.
was, yeah. She was in her own world.
So what happened? Did she go to jail?
She didn't go to jail, and you know, if I wanted to really, I could have sent her to jail. But essentially, what happened is, you know, the cops told me, they were like, "Hey, you know, you can pursue this if you want." I'm pretty sure she's not going to do it again after their conversation. They were like, "Hey, you know, we'll write her a citation. If you really want to go through the whole legal process, you can, but in my opinion, it's not worth it." And this was the cops talking. And I said, "Okay, write her a citation. If she ever comes near my, you know, unit again, like, she's going to jail." And I said that in front of her. And,
Did she ever
and she just shut up right there.
No, and she never came back.
Nope.
You
Never
guys were
had
able to
it for
finish smoothly.
Yep.
Went up for sale. The property sold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's, no more issues with her. So, thankfully.
Lesson learned is don't take anybody's keys from the door. Do not enter an apartment or a condo unit that you're not invited to. And I guess for your sake, put the permit on the window.
Lesson learned.
Oh man, what a good story, man. I'm glad everything ended up working. You were able to flip the condo successfully, right?
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
you know, it was a pain, and I won't do it again in that neighborhood just for that reason. But, I mean, it was fine.
That's a cap. Appreciate you watching. This is the Lulich Corner. We had Donovan Camarotti on with us, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.
Cool, man. Thanks for having me.